We're here with Danny Summers, a staple of Victory Martial Arts. He's also an instructor, and he's also one of our elite fighters that we have. He fights at 145. He's got a really great record as well. He also works with all the different students at all different levels. He's he's been very unselfish, with helping, his fellow brethren, if you will. And he's also I believe the competition team captain as well. So Danny, I want to just ask you a few bio questions here. And the first question I want to ask you is, to learn a little bit more about you, I want to know where you grew up. I mean, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I grew up in Bridgeport, Chicago. My father, he grew up in Bridgeport, so it's one of those things where I grew up where he grew up. So we grew up in Bridgeport. It was growing up. I mean, it was a decent neighborhood. I mean, obviously, it's not as bad as some neighborhoods. I can't complain. So I had a pretty okay upbringing, I guess you could say. But Bridgeport, Chicago, I live right by Sox Park. Grew up a Sox fan. That was one of the biggest things, making sure I was a Sox fan, even though my dad was a Cubs fan. But yeah, Bridgeport, Chicago is where I grew up. And recently I moved out to Oak Lawn, and that's where I've been living for about the last 5 years or so.
So where'd you go to high school? Tell me a little bit about that and what you did in high school.
I went to De La Salle High School, De La Salle on 35th in Michigan. It's a Catholic school, all-boys school. I kind of wrestled there. I played football a little bit for my freshman year. But in high school, I really didn't have the maturity I have now. Obviously, you're in high school. So when authority figure tells you to do something, you don't want to listen. You want to do it your way. You think your way is the best way, and it's not. So it takes you a little time to realize that. I always didn't, respect my coaches, which was wrong of me, of course. So football only went to freshman year. I got into wrestling. Never wrestled before in my life. Just kind of started in high school. I kind of liked it, but the thing was again, I had to run with the coaches. Didn't really work out. So it was just one of those things where, I wasn't motivated, but it was a cool sport. It was man against man. You kind of test your will against somebody. It was a team. Obviously, it's a team sport. When you train, when you get on the mat, it's just you and somebody else, and that's what I really liked about it. It was just one man versus one man, one will versus one will. That's what really got me going. So in high school, I wasn't the best student. Didn't pay attention. When you're growing up, your father tells you to do some things. He gives you some words of wisdom. Of course, nobody wants to listen. So it was just one of those things that I very, very mature at that age, but I'm glad I went through what I went through because I learned from it. I could always pass it on to other people.
So now you wrestled in high school. You grew up in it's a fairly nice neighborhood, but also known for being a little bit of a tough neighborhood. You didn't really get in too much trouble, thankfully. But what made you decide? And how old were you first? What made you decide to become a martial artist, and how old were you?
When I first started, I was 18. I was still working in Bridgeport. Basically, where my life was headed, I had no idea. It was just one of those things where everybody in my neighborhood was kind of going down these wrong paths. And I knew that wasn't for me. I knew I had to do something different. I had dreams and aspirations to be something better and be something great. So, I looked up martial arts. I thought it was something cool. So I go on Google, of course, look up martial arts places near where I just moved to, which is Oak Lawn. Found Victory. That's how I got into it. So I started at 18. I got into it because, again, I want something different from my life. So I thought I'd give it a try. It looked cool on TV, and again, man versus man, will versus will, got me going. So that's kind of how I got into it.
Now you've had a quite impressive record, and your skill level is grown quite quickly, actually, as a martial artist for Victory Martial Arts. So tell me a little bit more about your aspirations, because one would only guess that if someone got that good that quick, they really loved it and really wanted to do something with it. Tell us a little bit of what are we going to see in the future?
Basically, when you first start off, as time goes on, your motivation, it always changes. When you first start, especially when I started when I was 18, it was about me doing this, me doing that, me accomplishing this. As you start to build relationships with people, and you grow on people, and people start to look up to you, it changes. It's how you handle yourself, how you train, how you fight. If a guy sees you in the gym not pushing yourself, well then he's not going to push himself. So I took that to heart. I really want to push myself, make myself better, because if I made myself better, I knew everyone around me was going to get better, and that was the main thing. And now it's if I could really be prosperous from this, and wealth, whatever it is, I can pass it along to my family. Not just my father, not just my siblings, but also my nieces, my nephews. Hopefully one day my children, if I'm ready for that. So my motivation changed, but it was just not just for me, but my teammates. My coaches, showing them that I can put victory on the map. I kind of wanted to put a lot on my shoulders on purpose because I thought I was ready for that. So I wanted to grow. And it was one of those things where the more you take on, the more you're going to grow. And victory has given me that chance. And luckily I've been able to train hard and learn a lot from so many different people, which I'm so grateful for. And it's got me to the point where I'm at. So I'm very happy about that.
Now, Danny, the final question I'd like to ask you, and this is a very serious question for anyone who's viewing this video. What is your unique mission statement as an instructor at Victory Martial Arts?
Definitely to change somebody's life. People look at it as just a gym, just heavy bags, just focus mitts, just boxing gloves, but it's a lot deeper than that. People come in here and they have different backgrounds, different walks of life. And you don't really know that. So a good way to connect with them is just... You want to keep going?
Just keep going.
Okay. A good way to connect with them is just, as you're training them, talking with them, finding out who they are as a person, what it is they like to do, where they came from. And sooner or later, people start to open up, and that's where they tell you their stories. And they tell you, being in the gym has done this, being in the gym has done that. Because you let me come in, and I couldn't really afford it at first, but you let me work myself to that point. It's helped me grow as a person, and you change people's lives. You can save somebody's life. I know it's cliche and it might sound crazy, but it's true. If you have somebody in here, you tell them, be in the gym. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. I want you to train this many times a day, this many times a week. It keeps them off the streets, and that's what people are about. The parents, they love it because their kids are in here and they're learning discipline, humility, respect, and that's what it's about. And that's why I love it, because I can change somebody's life.
That's such a true statement. I mean, people have met their significant others at Victory Martial Arts. We've been able to reform gangbangers even.
Yep.
And this is all great things that all come from the victory spirit, and you're definitely a huge part of that, Danny. And I think that we all appreciate you across the board throughout all the instructors and the student body. And we also look at you as a staple of Victory Martial Arts. And we're always looking forward to what Danny Summers is going to do with his future. And it's more than just putting us on the maps. It's, allowing you to get out there and share the victory spirit that you've kept in your heart and we have all kept in our hearts. So thank you so much for taking the time to give this bio and for people to kind of, look into your life and for you to be a little transparent. We all appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.